CatFit is a startup organization primarily made up of military veterans who have designed a breakthrough program using military applications and special forces tactics that are adopted by special forces, paracommandos, army, air force, and naval forces to keep up their mental courage and consistently produce positive results. CatFit aims to equip all students, sportsperson, office goers, and homemakers with life skills, and to enhance their performance by fortifying their mental, psychological, emotional, and physical fitness. Today, I, Captain Yashika Hatwal Tyagi, along with Mr. Arpan Dikshit, welcome our viewers to a series of mental toughness and performance enhancement with real life heroes. Remember, if they can do it, so can you. CatFit brings to you a naval officer who has sailed more than 52,000 nautical miles in his naval career. And he's also a pilot who has flown naval reconnaissance missions. In the year 2013, he circumnavigated the globe solo and covered Sagar Parikrama non-stop in 151 days, covering 23,000 nautical miles. Amazing! In 2018, while competing in Golden Globe race, a storm broke his small boat and injured him severely. He received a spinal injury that immobilized him totally. Grievously injured, all alone in a small boat with wild sea howling and raging all sides, he displayed exemplary daring, guts, and courage till he was rescued 3 days later. Never one to give up, he is now ready to participate in Golden Globe Race 2020. And he has even taken voluntary retirement to chase his dream with undivided focus. Join me in welcoming recipient of Kirti Chakra, Nausena Medal, Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award, and recipient of McGregor Award, Commander Abhilash Tomy. We share the values, Commander Abhilash Tomy, and you truly seem like a mascot for CatFit. Welcome and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here speaking with you today.
Wonderful to have you today, sir. Yours is a feat which is non-pareil. When did the idea of circumnavigating the globe cross your mind, and what are the levels of preparation in terms of mental fitness required to accomplish which most will consider unfathomable? And the reason I'm asking this question is because the name of our show today is Achieving the Impossible.
Well, the idea of going to sea came to me when I was a child. I must have been 6 or 7 years old when the Trishna expedition happened, which was an Indian Army expedition circumnavigating the earth with 19 stops. That really, put that thought in my head that even I should grow up to do something like that. I must have been 19 when I got hold of a magazine in which they spoke about a race called Around Alone. There were people racing alone around the world on sailboats, and that really, reignited that thought in my head. And I thought that at least by the age of 40, I must attempt a single-handed circumnavigation. That's how the thought came into my mind. And one thing led to another. I joined the Naval Academy sailing team, where I learned the ropes of sailing. And when I was, as part of my career in the Navy, I was a reconnaissance pilot, but I would take time off, go sailing. And, one thing led to another. I joined the Navy team, and then I was deputed to be manager for the Volvo Ocean Race. And then I got a chance to sail with Professor Radhakrishnan, who was Sir C.V. Raman's son, from Oman to Yemen. And after that, the Navy put me as Captain Dilip Donde's shore support. He was doing a single-handed circumnavigation with stops. And well, after that, the Navy wanted to raise the bar higher, and they wanted somebody to, do a non-stop circumnavigation. And without batting an eyelid, I volunteered for it. So that's how it started for me.
Commander Abhilash, you have done such wonderful tasks that I am tempted to call you Sindbad the sailor of the modern times. We really would like to hear some hair-raising account, some wonderful story of your past sailing expedition.
I think the most interesting experience was I just turned 21 probably. I was posted in Jamnagar doing technical courses, electrical courses. I took a windsurf out in the evening, and for some reason it just stopped sailing properly. It broke down. There was another enterprise sailing close to me. They also had some failure, and we started drifting away. A rescue boat came to help us, and that also had a technical snag. Finally, we three tried. All of us tied our boats together, and we just drifted away. Next morning at 3, a Mi-8 from the Air Force station came to our rescue. They located us and picked up 2 of the 5 sailors. And finally, a fishing boat came and rescued the rest 3 of us. So my adventure started from very early age.
That's wonderful. Oh my God! They say armies tied at the tied to each other.
Yeah. Yep.
A medical emergency hit you in the worst possible way when you were on that small boat of yours. And obviously, you have those levels of resilience and mental fitness. And our motto at CatFit is Mind Matters. I would like you to tell our viewers today, what are the levels of resilience, where were they coming from? And, where did this mental toughness come from? Where did it come about from?
Personally, I don't think it has to come from somewhere else except within you. And I believe everybody has that level of, toughness in them. It's just a matter of time before they discover it. Either you discover it yourself or somebody has to guide you to discovering it. In my case, I believe it was a step-by-step thing. As my sailing horizons expanded, as I took greater and greater risks, I think my mind also expanded and kind of, got tougher as years progressed. In my case, it was just about slowly expanding my comfort zone. And I reached a stage where, multiple spine fractures and I was still within my comfort zone.
Oh my God.
You've been a naval pilot. So when did this idea of sailing come about? Because normally if I was a pilot in the Navy or anywhere else, and if I decided to circumnavigate the globe, it would probably have been on a plane. But to go onto a boat, where did this idea come from?
I was 7 years old when I decided that I wanted to be a pilot and I wanted to be a sailor. And the only place in India I could do both was in the Navy. And that's why, I finished 12th standard. I got through engineering and medical colleges. But much to the disappointment of my parents and relatives, I decided to join the Navy. But fact is, I did become a pilot and I ended up sailing. As far as the flying circumnavigation is concerned, I did have a plan to fly around the world. And I did have, some solid sponsors and all. But due to certain bureaucratic issues, it did not really fructify. But I've not left that dream. It will happen someday. And if that happens, I'll be the only person to have flown and sailed around the world alone.
From your, we are big into training students, especially schools, colleges, and universities. And in schools, what happens is parents impose or superimpose that the child should be into engineering or doctor, medical, and so on and so forth. So for the parents, I can say, if you allow your child to grow and follow his dream or passion, then rather than just one engineer, you can have someone who can achieve the impossible and make a name for himself. Ma'am.
Very rightly said. Very rightly said. And this conversation is just so interesting. Commander Abhilash, I would like to remind you of one army maxim that says, train as you will fight. And you are a proud recipient of glorious awards like Kirti Chakra, Nausena Medal, Tenzing Norgay Adventure Award. I would like to ask you, since training shapes us, so how much role has training in uh, Indian Naval Academy shaped you into achieving this magnificent feat?
You know what? As a child, as a student, I was only into books, and I would read and read and read and read, and I would read so much that my parents thought that I was extremely impractical. I had no idea of how the world functioned, and they thought that I would be a big failure if I even try to get into a bus and go somewhere. I wouldn't be able to do it. So that was the general impression that people had about me. When I was joining the Naval Academy, it was a day in July '96. My father came to drop me off, and as we crossed the gates of Naval Academy, he told me a sentence. He said, "You're going in a boy, but you will come out a man." And that's what exactly happened in the next 3 years. From being a bookworm, my life completely changed. I was swimming, I was playing games, I was running cross countries, I was doing academics, and I was doing things that I thought were impossible. And that's what the training of the Naval Academy teaches us. It just proved that with training, you can completely change your life. Yes. You can change it to a degree that you won't recognize it after some time. Probably that's why a couple of years later, the dream of becoming a pilot did not look unachievable. It was just a matter of putting your heart and soul into it. Similarly, when I was preparing for the circumnavigation, you should know that less than 100 people have successfully completed a non-stop circumnavigation of the Earth, whereas almost 6,000 people have climbed the Everest and 600 people have gone to space. So that's how difficult non-stop circumnavigation is. But, it was thanks to the attitude that was put into me when I was at the Naval Academy that going for a circumnavigation looked like a walk in the park. Achieving the impossible requires a warrior mindset and mental toughness training. Congratulations to Team CatFit for being the pioneers of this field in India. This is the need of the hour. This question is for Arpan. Now, the Indian Armed Forces excels in enhancing the abilities of the personnel that it recruits. And CatFit is also into performance enhancement. My question is, what kind of trainers and personnel have you deployed to achieve this objective?
Right. So, Commander Abhilash, we started out with an acronym called Military Application and Special Forces Tactics. So, essentially, what we are doing is we've taken the best of what the Special Forces and the Black Cat Commandos do, and now we are to replicate that in the civilian world of corporate systems, students, as well as in sports. Coming to the question that you've asked, what kind of trainers we have energy and creative officers. We have motivational speakers, coach talk speakers, TEDx speakers, psychologists, counselors, physical fitness trainers, mental toughness trainers. We've even got storytellers. We've got personality development trainers. So the whole idea is when you train somebody, let it be at a level of mental, physical, psychological, and physical, so that when the person goes back to doing what he or she does, they do it better and there's no flaw which is left. That is our whole idea behind.
Perfect. And Captain Yashika, ma'am, my question to you is, you are a Kargil war veteran and a professional motivational speaker. What are the mental toughness aspects that CatFit is bringing into the civilian world?
Commander Abhilash, CatFit motto, as we have already spoken, CatFit motto is mind matters. We believe that your mind is a powerhouse and everything is achievable if your mind can believe it. the coping mechanisms, or how to deal with adversity, the adversity quotient, as we call it. It is essential and it is trainable. How soon can you bounce back once adversity hits you? That is what we can train you. And I will not say how soon can you bounce back. I will say how soon can you bounce forward. I am a leadership multiplier because I draw strength from my own personal experiences. I faced failures after failures, but still I took one step at a time and reached where I wanted to reach. And probably I'm still working hard for more miles ahead. I volunteered for the posting of high altitude, extreme cold climate because I wanted to test my own resilience and how far I can go. I was 5 months pregnant when I fought Battle of Kargil because I believe that being pregnant is not a medical condition. It is as normal as it can get. And God just helped me in all my ventures. And I believe one has to walk the talk. And mental toughness is just gender neutral. So when I speak with this kind of personal experience, I think people connect and people understand where I'm coming from.
Commander,
You're a very tough person.
yes. Commander Abhilash, I have a question which is from the CatFit team. And the question is, Golden Globe event must be your dream. As you have taken retirement to pursue the objective, what is the event and what is your driving force? What are you, physically and mentally, how are you preparing for this mega event? And has the power to dream shaped your life?
I'll give you a brief history of the Golden Globe race first. In 1968, 9 men attempted to sail around the world alone without stops to find out who would be the first person in the world to do so. And out of those 9 people, one ended up committing suicide. Another ended up going around the world twice, and he settled down in Tahiti. He didn't come back to civilization because he thought it was not worth it. A third sailor whose boat sank 1,000 miles to the finish. 1,000 miles is just there. His boat sank 1,000 miles to the finish. 3 years later, he committed suicide. And out of the rest of them, nobody finished except for one gentleman whose name was Sir Robin Knox Johnston. And that race has been known to be the toughest race of all times, in the entire history of sailing. 50 years later, that race was repeated once again. It was called the Golden Globe race of 2018. I threw my hat into the ring. I got a special invitation from these guys. 18 people started. Out of those 18, only 5 finished. I broke my spine, lost my boat. Gregor McCuckin lost his boat. Susie Goodall lost her boat. R.A. Wigg, boat badly damaged and he had to pull into a port. There was another French sailor who lost his boat. Only 5 finished out of 18. And that too turned out to be a very, very difficult and extremely interesting race. Now, I'm planning to take part in the next edition of the same race in 2022. Mental preparation, I'm sure I don't need any, because I believe if you want to do it, that's half the battle won as far as mental preparation is concerned. I need a sponsor. Sponsor plays the most important part in a race like this. You get a good sponsor, you have enough money, you can have a very well prepared boat and a fantastic team behind you. And then it's just a matter of sailing around the world, which is the easiest thing in the entire process.
Commander Abhilash, people in uniform receive a lot of love and affection from society as a whole. And you also must be receiving lots and lots of curious questions also. People look up to defense people as their role models. CatFit ideology believes that it is our social responsibility to give back to society. I would like to ask you that how are you going to use your warrior mindset, your service experience, and this wonderful sailing experience in motivating the youth?
from sailing, one thing that I've understood is that this is the only sport which can completely change a person. It makes you patient. It gives you a lot of skills. For the non-stop circumnavigation, I had to be a cook, I had to be a carpenter, I had to be an electrician, an engineer, a navigator, communicator, meteorologist. A lot of skills are required to be a sailor. I believe personally that if every youngster in this country of this generation went to sea as a sailor or in some capacity or the other, this entire country is going to be completely different after one generation, and in a good way. And my aim after retiring from the services, from the Navy, is to help Indians go to sea in sailboats. And I think that's the biggest service I can do to the country.
That is wonderful.
I want to draw a parallel here for the audience. Captain Yashika, here is one person circumnavigating the globe. On the other end, it was you, 99, pregnant, 5 months pregnant at the height of the Kargil war. So I'm just trying to, correlate and draw an analogy here, wherein what was going through your mind at that point of time when you were fighting the Kargil war? Most people would have said, go back, somebody else will do the job. But what, prompted you to stay back and do what you were doing? Because it is equally difficult to be, fighting, be in the war zone, be pregnant and fighting.
Arpan, I never for a minute felt that I am unfit to do the task. I was there. I was in my full josh. I was medically fit. I was normal. And I was just soldier of Indian Army, doing my bit like everyone else there was. And I got a thumping battle report and 2 medals. What more can I ask from my life?
Where was this resilience coming from? This is what
Resilience comes from here.
Mental toughness and resilience coming from to think of doing the impossible.
See, it is said, man ke haare haar hai, man ke jeete jeet. Jab tak aapka man aapko vishwas dilata hai, if your heart can believe it and your mind can visualize it, you can do it. So my resilience came from my mind. My body supported me because my mind was ready.
Commander Abhilash Tomy, you were speaking on the same line. I want to, bring you back in. Sailing is an expensive sport. It is not cheap. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It is very expensive. It's not just expensive. It is like, it's a 5-star sport, you could call it, if I could say that. And perhaps the reason why majority of Western people take up sailing as a sport compared to people in India. So my question to you is, and this is our last question, what are the avenues open for enthusiasts and also the economical, physical and mental challenges that they should be prepared to, take up if they're taking up this sport?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a myth that sailing is an expensive sport. If you look at any other sport, like a stadium sport like cricket or something, you need investment in real estate to set up a stadium. You want to play football, you need investment in real estate. That real estate is free when it comes to sailing. Sea is free, anybody can access it. But unlike cricket, where your personal gear is, probably just a cricket bat, ball, and a couple of sets of wickets, in sailing, you need boats, and that's where it becomes slightly tricky. But here again, sailors have found a way around it by having a pool of boats. They pool in their boats, they form clubs, and you can easily become a member of a club and start sailing. If you have probably a lakh or something, not even a lakh, actually 30,000-40,000, you can buy a boat for your kid. And in no time, you will find your kid is, totally independent, a boy of 10 years or a girl of 10 years. Rigging her or his boat, taking that boat to sea all by herself or himself and coming back. That's a sight to behold. If you want to...
Places where they can go and, start teaching their children sailing, any specific places which you would recommend?
And also how we can collaborate.
There are enough clubs which are popped up all across the country. There was a time when it was only the military that had sailing clubs, but there are a lot of private and civilian sailing clubs with different levels of membership. You want to be a full member, you pay up more. But if you just want to be a sailing member, you just want to access the boats, you got much more cheaper memberships. You got facilities in some of the hotels who have, sailing boats, and you can rent and just go for a sail. If you need an instructor, you can go with an instructor as well. But there is a big fear of the sea because, despite the fact that we have 7,000 kilometers of coastline, people are scared to swim. This subject is not very well known in schools. Children don't really learn so much about sailing or the fact that there is a sport called sailing. I think it's a awareness change that needs to happen first. And once that change happens, the desire to go to sea will automatically come. And those who go to sea once will never look back. They would want to go again and again and again.
A wave can tell the nature of the sea. Let us strengthen the mission of Commander Abhilash Tomy for his upcoming Golden Globe Race 2022. Your best wishes and also your sponsorships would go a long way in this historical sea voyage around the world.
Those who go to the sea will never look back. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Commander Abhilash Tomy, former naval officer, highly decorated, and he's one person who followed his dreams. That is the reason he achieved the impossible. So my only message to parents out there who are watching this is, do not force your children to follow your dream. Allow them to follow their dream. And we have a living example here, a living legend who went on to, follow his dream and achieve the impossible. Thank you.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.